Do not be afraid to confront situations that might be uncomfortable for them, but they have to make decisions that's in the best interest of their children. Listen carefully to what the other person is saying. You want to try to understand from his or her point of view. Then you want to communicate exactly what you're saying in a very clear and concise way. You want to move away fast if that person has a weapon or has been using alcohol or drugs, because that's not the time to reason with any individual. Then you want to think about it. Violence on television can sometimes look exciting and even funny, but real violence is dangerous. In this day and age, Alicia, it's very difficult for our children to learn self-discipline, but it is a must. Parents need to teach their children self-discipline and then give them every opportunity to express that. Children need to be able to make right decisions when parents are around and when parents are not around. Children need to be able to resist street pressures. They need to be able to resist those negative things that are coming their way on a daily basis. So not only do our children need to have positive self-esteem, but they need to develop positive self-discipline as well. One of the things that you have to do is to be very firm, look that child straight in the eye, get eye-to-eye contact, be very direct, give that child the very simple, direct message of exactly what it is that you want that child to do. Say if you want your child to sit in a chair, take the child to the chair, look him straight in the eye, say, and almost just literally sit the child down and say, I want you to sit here. Maybe it's for 5 minutes of timeout, or if it's 2 minutes of timeout, whatever it is. Usually timeout is effective with smaller children at short intervals, and so you want to be very directive, but always get eye contact. Because then the child knows that you mean business. Many times parents will yell at a child across the room, and children are used to testing limits, and so if parents will give them chance after chance after chance, but a child knows that when that parent moves, then that parent means business. You can't ask your children to do anything that you are unwilling to do. So if you don't like beets, you shouldn't try to get your children to eat beets. If you don't like squash or green beans, however, if you want your child to eat those, then you need to start. I remember when my oldest daughter was very little, I hated to eat liver, but I started eating liver, and now I love liver, and so does she. So we have to be the example always of what we want our children to do. You want to control your own feelings of loss so that you don't impose any guilt feelings on your youngster as they're going off to college or getting married and moving away to another state. Many times that parents feel a sense of loss as their children are leaving the nest, and so you want to control those feelings, your feelings of anxiety, so that children don't feel guilty for leaving mother or father behind. First of all is that you want to attend yourself. Remember that we're always the example for our children. And then you want to shop around to see which services have child-centered services. Make sure that they have services that are geared for children so that they can understand on their own level, so that you can enjoy service as well as them. We have all of the prenatal care that is offered to mothers prior to them giving delivery of the child. It's extremely important for them to take those classes, for them to get as much knowledge as possible so that they can learn how to be good to the baby even before it gets here. And then, of course, after the baby gets here, there are parenting classes all over that parents still need to be a part of to learn how to properly care for that child. When a problem exists for a child or is evident, then psychological testing can be used to refine or clarify what problems should be addressed first and with what emphasis. As professionals, we often like to recommend that yearly physical examinations be done on every child, if only to avoid the possibility of illnesses. However, similarly, we like to recommend that a psychological evaluation be done at least by first grade to help determine a child's strengths and weaknesses and to help better plan for the child's future. Number one is emotional impairment. These youngsters have average to above average intelligence. However, they are exhibiting emotional problems that interfere with their learning over an extended period of time. Next, we have learning disabled youngsters, and these youngsters also have average to above average intelligence. However, there is a deficit in their learning. Say, for instance, a youngster is doing math on a 5th grade level, but reading on a 3rd grade level. Next, we have educably mentally impaired. These youngsters' IQ will never be beyond a certain level, and this used to be the category for mental retardation. However, these youngsters can go on further in life and receive vocational training so that they can receive some standard of living. Your role as a father is based on your ability to love and teach your children. It's really your responsibility to learn and understand the system in which you live so that you'll be able to teach your children how to live better within that system. Understanding the system is not that difficult. All you need to do is know how to find the answers. That is, to be able to tell your children who to see, what to do, where to go, when to do something, why it must be done that way, and how to handle a problem. The core of understanding any system is who, what, where, when, why, and how. Women tend to overschedule themselves, and as a result, when they can't get everything done, they feel totally inadequate. Summertime is the perfect time for growth and renewal. Take some time for yourself. For instance, take an at-home vacation for a week and do some things that you've never seemed to have time to do, like clean out that closet, try on everything in it, and then give everything that you can't wear to charity. Also, plan some feel-good time. For instance, go bowling or skating. What I did a couple of weeks ago was to go bowling with my daughter, something I never get a chance to do. So remember, take some time for yourself, do things, don't schedule anything, and enjoy life. First of all, do you sense that there's been enough time shared between you and your attendant and your children to cause bonding? When your attendant takes your child out alone, does it work out well, or does the child seem distant and forced? Do you agree on discipline as well as privileges? Are you comfortable enough to share the discipline of your children with your intended spouse? Or will you get halfway down the road and say, wait a minute, this is my child? If you answer no to any of these questions, you need to first wait, get the problems resolved, and if necessary, seek professional guidance. When we understand that we just can't do just anything, we also know that we are loved enough to be trained. When we have a 2-year-old that sticks out his tongue and yells no, we may think that's very cute. But when that same child is 17 years old and he's yelling and cursing at you, you may wonder why and what did I do? Where did I go wrong? Why doesn't this child respect me? Contrary to what you believe, respect is not a natural thing. Respect is a result of training. The best way to train your child is to teach them to respond to your words, teaching them that no means no and yes means yes, not no after 5 or 6 times. Teaching them to use a higher level of reasoning power will enable them to effectively learn how to problem solve with their peers. It's going too far when they are hurting each other, when they are physically hurting each other, and when there's vengeance, and when there is hatred. And so it's gone too far at that point. And parents need to seek some professional help, and as well as seek some counseling for the youngsters, as well as for themselves, to show them effective parenting tools and techniques to know how to intervene in that situation. One of the things that parents have to realize is that sibling rivalry is to some extent normal. However, it's to be expected. But what parents have to do is that they have to model and teach love and understanding for their youngsters. They just can't automatically think that a youngster is just going to automatically love their brother or their sister. That has to be taught, like self-esteem and respect. So parents, if they want their children to show love and understanding toward each other, they have to model and teach that as well. A parent can't just necessarily tell a 2-year-old, you sit in that chair and don't move for, say, an hour or so while they are conversing with other adults. That child is curious, he's going to get up, he's going to be involved in things. And so parents need to make allowances for that by having toys and things that's going to be available to amuse the youngster until they are ready to leave the presence or company of others. But if those children are in your home and they're being disrespectful and they're being rude, then as the owner of that home and as the person that's in charge there, you have a right to voice your opinion and state that I would prefer, Johnny, that you not do that, or Susie, that you sit here and not do that. And I think that's perfectly okay. When children interact with parents, they are choosing to pursue a goal. And that goal, of course, is to be recognized by the parent. Children will use a wide variety of behaviors to accomplish this goal, whether pleasant or unpleasant. The unpleasant or unacceptable we define as misbehavior. When parents know the purpose for misbehavior, then they are better able to understand it and come up and then know what to do about it. Now, remember, all misbehavior is to accomplish one of 4 goals. That is attention, power, revenge, or to display inadequacy. All misbehavior is to accomplish one of 4 goals: attention, power, revenge, or to display inadequacy. Now, how can a parent tell which goal the misbehavior is targeted for? Well, simply the best goal detector is, of course, the parent's feelings. Different misbehaviors will stimulate different feelings and reactions in parents. For instance, if the parent is saying to the child, "Hey, cut it out, stop it," that's an attention-getting response. And it may be annoying or unpleasant to the parent, but it simply makes sense to the child, for the child sees that it is better to have scolding than no attention at all or to be ignored. Remember, in responding to attention-getting behavior, you want to ignore the negative behavior. You want to pay attention simply to the behavior that you want repeated, which is the positive behavior, and then pretty soon things will change. Misbehavior is to accomplish one of 4 goals: attention, power, revenge, or to display inadequacy. We talked about attention last week. Let's look at power this week. Say, for instance, mother wants Johnny to take out the garbage, and Johnny is watching his favorite television show, and they're going back and forth, but yet and still Johnny's not budging. What should she do? Well, she should go into the room after giving the directive, turn off the television set, get eye-to-eye contact with Johnny, and says, "I'd like for you to do it now." Usually, Johnny will respond in a favorable way. Mother can also state to Johnny, "You can finish watching your show immediately after your chore is done." Revenge misbehavior always tries to make the parent feel hurt. The child's purpose is to get even. For whatever the reason, the child thinks that the parent has treated them unfairly. A child may yell, scream, shout, "I don't like you anymore, I don't care, drop dead." These powerful negative words are intended to prove to the parent that the child can retaliate about feeling hurt. Now, what can a parent do? First of all, they can choose not to feel hurt. The challenge is for a parent to develop a trusting relationship and to help the child to understand that whatever the decision, that it has been for their best interest. This brings us to the 4th purpose of misbehaving: to display inadequacy. Often a parent does not even believe that this is a form of misbehaving. They usually think, "My child is so passive, they just sit there and do nothing." Exactly. Children often try to display their inadequacy in order to be excused from doing a difficult task or job. And if you, the parent, actually believe that they are unable, you excuse them from the task, agreeing that nothing else can be done. Well, remember, this child needs lots of encouragement and motivation instead of you pitying them and feeling sorry for them. Remember, to be an effective parent, you need to identify first the purpose of misbehavior and then change the child's behavior by first changing yours, doing exactly what the child doesn't expect. It's just not what you say, but it's how you say it to children that matters. From an early age, children begin to pay attention to the powerful cues that parents give in their facial expressions and tone of voice. Experts tell us and believe that by the age of 2,